Welcome to r/relationship advice. Today we have two stories. One has to do with a bad odor, not for the squeamish, and the other about a horrible man and two women. If you like this content, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Story number 1. A friend went through an attempted sexual assault and I don't want to support her through it. I don't want any advice related to calling law enforcement or suing the man. 0. A friend called me crying saying that a friend of hers attempted to sexually assault her. I consoled her for a bit, but really had no interest in doing so. I felt like I had to as a friend. I left as soon as possible when another friend got there. The man is a friend of hers. This man sexually assaulted me last year after she introduced me to him. I told our friends and they were like, that's weird. It was probably a misunderstanding, and went on with listening to music. I wouldn't go anywhere if he might be there. Eventually my friends said it bothered them and they were coming over with that man to talk about the misunderstanding. What? So, he apologized. That same night he attempted to sexually assault me again in my house. I told my friends and they all said, he's never done that to me. He's just sexual and you need to be better at saying no. Another time he attempted to sexually assault me in front of them. They did not tell me he was at their home when they invited me, and I kept asking them to get him off of me. Again, they told me to get better at saying no and kept cooking lunch. Eventually I stopped fighting since no one cared to pull him off. He sexually assaulted me in front of them. Now that one of my friends was sexually assaulted by this man, he's a predator. He's evil. He needs to be jumped. It's serious. No one ever said sorry they didn't believe me, or sorry that they didn't do more to help me, or sorry they watched him sexually assault me. They are completely glossing over the fact that they repeatedly tricked me into being put into dangerous situations with this man after knowing he was a sexual predator. I really don't have that much sympathy. They knew he sexually assaulted women. I definitely was not the only one he did this to. I'm definitely not the only one they know of. They just thought it wouldn't happen to them, so it wasn't a big deal until it did. I'm afraid if I try to help her, I'll accidentally get pissed and say, maybe you should have been better at saying no, or go off on her. I know she doesn't need that right now. Can I just ignore her? Again, this is not a post asking for legal advice. Here's the first comment. You can absolutely ignore her. And the fact that you haven't thrown her reaction to your experiences back in her face makes you something of a saint in my book. I would have done so immediately. Why did you remain friends with any of these people? They are clearly pretty toxic and don't care about you. Here's the next comment. None of these people are your friends. They don't deserve your sympathy or your presence in their life. Find new people to hang out with. And yes, ignore this woman. Forever. Here's the next comment. What the actual freaking frick? I'm sorry, they watched him sexually assault you? What kind of a sick environment is that? OP, please stop going back to those people. They are not your friends. Do you have a therapist? If not, get one as soon as possible. Here's the next comment. Don't be friends with people who don't have your back, because they don't have your back. This isn't just about supporting your friend. They are all complicit. Predators run wild because everybody turns a blind eye. Since they personally injured you with their inaction, I don't see what you have to gain from continuing to be in that social group. And seriously, feel free to call them out. Tell them you told them so. Because you did. Call them out for being crappy friends and hypocritical. Is there really a need for you to preserve their feelings? Here's the next comment. If she reaches out to you again, just say, I'm sorry that you were sexually assaulted. If that's true or not, maybe just leave it out. But it's not good for my mental health to support you in this, because you knew that he was a sexual predator. He sexually assaulted me, and never once did you believe me. In fact, you blamed me. You'll have to find support from someone else. And then you stop being friends with all of these people. Cut them out of your life. I don't know why you haven't already. Story number 2. This one is not for those with a weak stomach. Girlfriend's privates smell really bad, and she refuses to get it looked at. I, 21 male UK, have been with my girlfriend, 22, for over 3 years now, and for that whole time her privates have just had this weird smell to them. On a good day it's barely noticeable. On a bad day it left a smell on my car seat and can be smelled just sitting next to her with clothes on. I've only gone down on her like 3 times because I genuinely feel like I'm going to be sick just having my face in there from the smell and the taste. It's just really salty and kind of fishy. I also constantly see these brown stains on the front of her pants which also smell, which she insists are normal. I've also noticed, since I've known her, that whenever we have sex, the rougher it is, the more I find that I always get this weird flaky discharge on the shaft of my penis afterwards. That is very clearly from her and has a similar smell to her privates. It's pretty much colorless, but I guess white, if I had to pick one. She always just shrugs when I bring it up, and I can't find anything useful about it on the internet. She's never seen a gynecologist before, and the moment I finally convinced her to, they closed because of COVID. It's not as bad as it used to be, but then again maybe I've just gotten more used to it. Even after a shower the smell is somewhat there, and I know all she uses to wash her privates is just water from the shower. It's at its worst when she is very physically active and sweating a lot. She's also on the pill, which I hear can cause unusual discharge depending on the exact type, but she gets really defensive when I tell her that something needs to be done about this smell, and all in all refuses to even get it looked at despite having no idea what it is. I'm really worried that it could be some kind of disease that might cause damage if left for this long, and I worry about how it might affect me as well if it is. It's not bad enough for me to break up over, but it just really worries me. It's not really a problem during sex, because I'm usually just too horny to care, but there have been a few times it's genuinely gotten in the way. We are doing amazingly relationship wise other than this one recurrent thing. Edit. Forgot to mention one time I found some weird white cottage cheese stuff in there, and she went to a pharmacist to get some cream for vaginosis. Hasn't really done much. She's also my first relationship, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. Edit 2. She can't even go to a doctor or gynecologist right now because of lockdown, but she's using that as another reason not to call them. All I'm asking of her, whenever this is brought up, is to try antibiotics or something, which I'm sure can be prescribed right now. Here's a first comment. BV, I would look into it, especially if the smell is more so of a fishy or pungent variety. BV can usually be cleared up if they swab and it tests positive for bacteria. BV is not a STI, but can cause significant health issues down there, and you don't want to be swapping unhealthy bacteria back and forth. But there are also other types of STIs that can also cause very distasteful odors in the vagina. Trichomoniasis being one of them. They typically don't cause symptoms in men, but with women, can cause significant smelly parts. Either way, I find it incredibly odd that she wouldn't be more interested in why her vagina smells. From even just a personal standpoint, as a woman, I would want to make sure nothing was amiss down there. Anyways, hope she eventually agrees to get it checked out, since depending on what is causing the irregular smell, it could be affecting you as well. All the best. Here's the next comment. A fishy smell from a vagina is not normal. It is a sign of bacterial vaginosis, and it is treatable with antibiotics. It needs to be fixed. For both of you. Here's the next comment. She absolutely can be seen by the GP. They are doing phone consultations and will book a face-to-face appointment if necessary or leave a prescription to be picked up. Lockdown is not an excuse for her not prioritizing her health. I'm glad things in your relationship are good besides this, but this issue does need sorting. Here's the next comment. I will say discharge is normal. Getting discharge on your penis during/after sex is normal. That being said, nothing else about your post sounds normal. Is she the first woman you have been sexual with? Do you have other, hopefully healthy vaginas to compare to? You can't force her to go to the doctor. And ending a relationship because they do not take cleanliness and hygiene seriously is a totally understandable reason. Here's the next comment. Fishy smell means BV. Usually, it's not an STI, but an overgrowth of bacteria. I need to emphasize that it's really not okay that she is 22 and sexually active and has never seen a gynecologist. She needs pap smears every 3 years, breast exams and periodic STI screenings, and for someone to be checking in on her general coochie health and how her current mode of birth control is treating her. Tell her it's just an international standard that people who have vaginas go to the OBGYN. If insurance is a factor, Planned Parenthood is there for this reason. Maybe instead of focusing on how the smell bothers you, emphasize that you're literally worried about her health. My OB is back to doing office appointments now, masked, so if you call around, I'm sure that you'll find someone who can evaluate and treat her. One last thing is that it's okay to wash your vulva with just water. Soap and body wash in your vag can throw off your pH balance and worsen problems with BV/yeast. In a person with a healthy vagina, washing with water is generally sufficient and recommended. Thank you for listening.